back before AI was a thing.
Craziest thing.
Please.
They're getting so much.
There's seconds to go here. What's school today? Good. 6:50, about 59 seconds.
You're working at it.
There it is. They're here for you. Guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started with the work session for tonight. We're doing special work session agenda tonight, followed by a special council meeting. Allison, can you start us off, please? Are you ready?
Yeah. So the first thing the mayor asked me to address is that we're gonna ask for a motion to be made when we go into the open session to add public comment onto the agenda. It's a special meeting, so generally in special meetings, we don't have public comment. That's why it wasn't on the agenda. It's fine to add it, but when we go into the open session, we'll add it there. So we won't have public comment in the workshop, but we'll have it in the open session. So whoever wants to make that motion at the time is fine. I understand that on Monday, there was some activities and the mayor asked me to kind of talk about how we got here, how we fix it, and what we can do. So this started, my understanding, okay, let me first say, Mr. Carey's wife, Marlene Carey, received a tourism grant for an MMA promotion business that she owns. There's nothing wrong with her receiving that grant. There's no allegations of any nefarious behavior. The intent is to preserve the grant so that she can continue to receive funds in the future. That's what everybody wants. We want her to get the money because it is a legitimate tourism purpose. So a few meetings ago, they were voting. Councilmember Carey, he abstained. He didn't state why he abstained, which is not the end of the world. It just happened. Staff looked into the reason for the abstention, and the reason was because his wife had received funds from the Tourism Commission. And that makes sense. That was the right way to do it. He should have abstained. At that point, and all of this happened in pretty quick succession. So at last Thursday's meeting, Councilmember Carey made a motion to table the budget because he had additional questions. That was Thursday. Point between Thursday and Monday, staff discovered that the reason for the abstention. So I further understand that Mr. Carey and Mrs. Carey recently got married. When you get married, it changes your legal status. And that has an impact on what you need to disclose and how you need to disclose your relationship to preserve that grant. Mr. Carey was unaware of that. It's okay. He's a new council member. We can fix it. And I will explain how we're going to fix it later on. The question was posed to Bob. Can Councilmember Carey participate in communications about the budget when tourism is part of it? So the short answer to that is that well, there was a long answer actually. If any of you watched the video, we read the legal memo. While it was fine to read the legal memo, there was no reason you couldn't read the legal memo. I would surmise that it probably wasn't exactly meant to be a public reading as it was very long. It was very nuanced, it was very detailed. The issue that we got hung up on is, can the tourism part of the budget be segregated out of the general budget discussion? And Mayor Moritz's understanding of that is that it could not be. Bill Lehman can explain the details of that more, whether or not it can be segregated out, but that was the belief that the mayor had, is that it could not be segregated out. So we asked Brad Carey to leave the chambers for the budget discussion. In retrospect, there probably should have been more question and answers about that so we could have gotten to the nexus of that issue, which is, can we segregate out the tourism portion of this budget from the general budget? Again, Bill Lehman can explain the nuance of that, but that is the reason that this happened. The memo, the way it was written, in my opinion, is a great legal scholar memo. It was not easy to understand, and it wasn't easy to understand for the general public. In hindsight, and I will take any blame particularly to try and heal this situation, that should have been clearer. And I apologize that that wasn't clearer, that the issue boiled down to whether or not you could segregate out that tourism portion of the budget. After Mayor Moritz asked him to leave, we did not have a question and answer session. In retrospect, there is a way to fix this. So there was a contribution, and I'm sorry, I'm talking about you like you're not here. There's been a contribution to Miss Carey's wife the last 3 years, and I understand they weren't married all 3 years and you weren't an elected official. And so it's probable or likely that she may ask for a contribution again, which is completely fine. So we need to protect the integrity of the budget moving forward, the budget of 2027, but we also need to fix the disclosure of last year. I've had lots of other council members that have messed this up in the past. Like, this is not a unique experience. Brad doesn't need to be taken out back and beaten. Like, we can move forward. We just need to get the forms filed correctly. So I have asked that I've talked with Alderman Carey. I've talked with the mayor and Anthony Traxler. I have prepared a statement that will say, it will cover the disclosure for coming forward. So Councilmember Carey can read it. My understanding is we're going to have Tammy Casey read it on his behalf. Are you okay with that, Brad?
Yes.
Okay, so Tammy will read that into the record. He will confirm. It's just publicly disclosing that there is this potential conflict, again, to preserve the ability to get grants in the future. Because again, everybody thinks that this is above board and everybody thinks that this is a good purpose. So we want it to continue. I've seen the internet. I've seen the emails. You're going to do what you're going to do. You're going to make whatever decisions you want to make. In my opinion, you all have a lot of time left on your terms. I mean, you are all in the middle of your terms or have years left on your terms. Whether the problem is me or Bob, I hope that when you hire a new attorney, that it heals that situation. And by the way, let's schedule those interviews because I think that will help. But I implore you to move on and try and heal this situation because you guys really need to work together and like nothing else gets done. Like, I've spent probably 10 hours this week talking about it. I know Anthony has as well. I'm sure Brad has, and EJ. I spent a lot of time talking to EJ with how to resolve this issue. I just hope that we can fix the mistake and move forward. We've rescheduled this workshop because Councilmember Carey didn't get to ask his questions. So if he has questions about the budget, we want to make sure we answer those after reading the disclosure. Does anybody have any questions about what I've said so far? No.
Thanks, Allison.
Okay. Tammy, will you read the disclosure, please?
As a member of the City of Arnold City Council, I am making this public disclosure because the municipality is likely to consider an award to Nemesis Fighting Alliance, my spouse's company, in the future. Marlene Carey has received and is likely to be proposed to receive a tourism grant in the amount exceeding $500 to promote tourism in Arnold throughout a sponsored event. The award is considered through an independent application and selection process. To ensure transparency, I disclose my relationship to the recipient, to the public, and to my fellow members of the Arnold City Council. I did not participate in discussions, deliberations, evaluations, recommendations, negotiations, or decisions concerning this matter, except to the extent necessary to make this disclosure. I did not vote on the matter. I abstained from participation during consideration of the matter as reflected in the meeting record. This disclosure is intended to ensure that the public and the governing body are aware of the relationship before or in connection with the action on this award. It does not express a view regarding the merits of the award, and it does not direct and influence the independent consideration of the matter by other authorized municipal personnel or members of the council. I make this disclosure in accordance with applicable law, the municipality's ethics and conflict of interest requirements, and any advice provided by the municipality's council.
Yes.
So now we can all move forward and talk about the budget. Anybody have any questions about the budget?
Yep.
Directed to any?
We're at that point to open up to the council for any remaining questions and discussion on the going forward budget.
If I can add real quick,
Bill, you want to talk about that one we were talking about before?
I just want to say, clarify, the accounting software has booted me out. I don't know if they're doing an update at the mainframe. I'm trying to get back in. That doesn't prevent us from having a budget discussion. It just could prevent me from looking up underneath detail, if you would, but
Before we go too much further, can you talk about the inability to move the tourism out of the main budget discussion?
yes, if you were to look on our budget report, we've got several funds. And some of those are discrete, separate funds, meaning they even have their own separate bank account. Others are considered subordinate funds to the general fund, even though we portray them separately so we can measure the economics of that particular cluster of general ledger accounts. They're actually a subordinate fund underneath the general fund, and their actual dollars are commingled in the general fund's bank account. The accounting system allows us to track that cash separately, and that's real common. That's called pooled cash. The tourism fund is one of those funds. It's shows on the financial statements separately, but it is conjoined with the general fund, as is the police fund, as is the rec center fund stands on its own, the stormwater fund stands on its own, but all the other funds are kind of grouped together, other than one that's related to, it's called a special allocation fund that's related to the TDDs and the TIFs. So can we segregate it? I could probably try to get the accounting system to actually produce separate reports. I don't know how that would work. So to that extent, I'd say my advice is it is conjoined and it's really hard to strip it out on its own.
Thank you. Anybody got anything? Bring it forward. Brad, work on that end. Brad,
Are we asking budget items?
we are now. We're in the clear.
All right. On the, why did the newsletter go up from $10,000 to $20,000 from the last budget? Just a best guess, on what it's gonna cost us to put it together. We still haven't even bid that out or even gotten the mailing list together. Gotcha. It's possible mid-year adjustment, we may have enough in there. It's possible something could be a little bit more. Gotcha. I see we had $125,000 for a bull ramp. I think that's gonna be way less, but that's a question of where I have. I'm just going line by line here where I had notes, so I'm sorry. On the wish list. The other thing is I see here $10,000 for a cargo trailer to do storage and portable office. I really like the idea of that, but we're gonna have to change ordinances to do that because it's against our ordinance to store it in a trailer. Eventually, we're gonna have to replace these slide that I seen at 650,000. It was on here. Let's see. On page 5, the TDD contributions, budgeted the years before 24, 25, or activity of 24, total budget of 25, and then total budget of 26. And then it said that our activity was 120,296.12. Why was that?
Again, I can't get into the specifics here. It's possible there's an accounting entry in there that is bad, I would guess, based on that. When we close the books at the end of any given fiscal year, we go through and look for such transactions where it could have been posted to a wrong account.
It was just almost $100,000.
Right. To me, that speaks that there's a posting error without being able to look at it further. I'm sorry, I don't have any additional information.
On page 7, miscellaneous, it said budgeted a $5,000 general, but then the amount transferred over is 45,000.
Oh, that means there's, I believe in prior years, there's a base of $5,000 of general. And I believe it was requested to raise that to an additional 40,000 for other items that are included in there. I don't know what they are off the top of my head without being able to look in here though. But as I recall,
All right. Further down on that line, the beautification, we went from a budget item of 2,000 to 20,000, an $18,000 increase for beautification.
yeah, the beautification committee has projects they want to do around the city. And they've expressed that.
That's a board or commission that really hasn't met in a while, and that was as part of the, when we tried to clean up the boards and commissions, or if we remember, maybe probably going back maybe 4 months ago, we had a lot that were expired. There were a lot of overlap on some of these people. Maybe they weren't reappointed. I believe the beautification committees, they're supposed to meet, is it next week?
It's coming up
I
next
think they're
week.
coming up next week,
Yeah.
first time in a while. I think that might be why. And so some of the things they're looking at, and we have elsewhere on a wish list item, would be signage. I think that was one of the big things they were
That was
looking
on a
at.
separate one that's 50,000.
I know, I
Or
think but I mean,
15,000.
that was one of the things they talked about. They're also talking about other beautification projects. I think they're just trying to talk about getting that project going together again. And they've been waiting, like, once this gets done and they know what they have to work with, I think they'll be coming to us with various projects. That's the intent.
Gotcha. On page 8, 00-105-45-190 on other. Total activity in 2025, 24-25 was 547,000. The budget for 25-26 was 10,000, and the activity was 57,000. And then we upped it to 20,000, but
Yeah.
what's,
Oh, I'm sorry.
what's other?
So this is the general and administrative department.
Mhm.
So it means that we might not have a place to put expenses for certain projects to come through. This one may have been, given that year, some of the work that was done post tornado.
Gotcha.
I think, Chief, I think you had what, $300,000 in car damage alone or something like that.
Yes, sir. I
Yeah.
mean, that makes sense then why it's so high. Further down that page, 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 together combined at 135,000 for the conference room, legal conference room. Is that what we just voted on last week for?
I'll defer to Anthony on that.
Correct.
That the office
Yeah,
remodel?
but and there's still other things we're gonna do. We're gonna put in an AV system so we can have obviously
Yeah.
teleconference calls. There's probably gonna be furniture in there. So that's why it's.
Say, I seen the next one is a $75,000 furniture.
Yeah, that's
I
gonna be
didn't
for other offices, but
Yeah.
the conference room itself is, that 135 would be for improvements within the conference room itself. The 75 will be some others. We're gonna be,
Wait, so that's upstairs conference room, not the one that you're
no, it's
building
down
now?
here.
Oh,
It's down here. Yeah, so we're gonna have 2 now.
Okay.
And then another thing we're gonna be thinking about, some of those inspectors right now, we're gonna be kind of, they're all kind of in the
Cubicle.
same room. With adding a few panels, they'll be able to increase some of their space as well. So we might need to buy a few extra panels. So there's gonna be some furniture. There's gonna be some, an HVA or AV system put in, and then, additional, furniture within there as well.
Okay. And then that $75,000 was for other furniture to.
Yeah, that's gonna be,
across the way.
that's gonna be, we've got about, over the years, certain people's desks have fallen apart and been replaced, but we've still got quite a few right now. That's gonna be kind of spread out, depending on kind of a worst first approach.
Okay. And then going to page 9, Department 110, Mayor and Council. Budget last year was 112,000. Now it's going, or I'm sorry, it was 94,000. Now it went up 24,000 to 18,227, which is a 26% increase.
Yeah, those are based on, there's a raise schedule for elected officials.
Oh,
And
so it's not the standard raise schedule with the rest of the,
no, I think it's an ordinance. It defines, so the longer someone's in, and since we get 4 new ones every year, there's an alternating as to when the raises kick in.
gotcha.
So it's probably probably a little more detail than I would care to explain
No,
here,
no.
but it's justifiable. I mean, we know what causes that.
Okay. I mean, it just wasn't the,
No, it's a good question.
those all added together because that made sense to me. On uh, on budget item, page 17, which is under planning and zoning, $70,000 in lieu of replacement of community engineer. How is this, are we hiring an engineer on staff then as like a retainer? Is that the intention of the $70,000 with the drop in?
So we had an on-staff engineer. We
Right.
are not replacing that role.
Uh-huh.
So essentially the planning salaries is going down, but in lieu of that, we have an engineering consultant. So essentially we're moving some of the funds that were in salaries and wages over to the engineering account.
And one thing to add to that, a lot of this, you're looking at the expense, there'll be increased revenues through plan reviews, because in the past, we were doing those reviews at no charge, even though we had an ordinance that said we should be charging those. So we're paying the engineer, but for like a large scale project, we will get reimbursed for those.
Okay.
Small scale projects, meeting private individual homeowners, smaller businesses, or, going to meet with a neighborhood subdivision. Sarah and we just met with them on 3 different subdivisions. I haven't told you yet, Councilmember Ruther and the mayor, they were both on 3 of those trips. 2 of the 3 are solvable, and these are long-term projects. We would eat those costs because we believe that's a community service. But if it's a large-scale developer, Club Fitness, Planet Fitness, whatever that is, so that'd be a good example. We get reimbursed on that.
Okay. On the next page, page 18, police department. Every other budgeted item and budget of 26-27 is 0, but 2025, we spent $68,119.72.
Yeah, those are, well, that's this current year that we're in now.
Yeah, that is correct, but it
Right,
had a
and
budget
so
of 0.
those are artifacts. That basically means there's an employee that is expensing into this Fund 00 Department 210, which is where the police department used to be housed. We have created a separate Fund 21, which you can see on the later pages in here, where all of these expenses land. This means there's an employee that when they get set up in the payroll system, which is adjacent to the accounting system, there's coding in there erroneously telling it to expense it into this particular group of accounts. This will get moved out of here at year end and moved over into Fund 21. So it's legitimate expenses that just landed in the wrong spot.
Okay. So it is a 0 budget.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Building and codes on page 19. Salaries and wages, it went up like 7%. Just trying to figure out what caused that
Yeah, I believe we
$32,000
had staff turnover in there. And so, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think it was not this past year, but the year before, the council approved to have an additional code enforcement officer.
Uh-huh.
So essentially, there's a whole new member of staff in that salaries and wages, and that, of course, kind of goes down into as well as, personal time, comp time, the benefits, those sort of things. I think that might be the biggest reason why.
Yeah, I was gonna say the rest didn't seem to all go up 7% per numbers.
Well, I was gonna say, the other thing is when you bring new people in from the outside, you're having to bring them in at the current market rate, which may be higher than the cost of living adjustment raises. So that can happen within a department like that.
Okay. Page 21, the St. John's Road, $40,000, the railroad crossing elimination plan. I remember you mentioning some of these, but I didn't remember St. John's Crossing at $40,000.
And I'll let James or Anthony speak to that.
Yeah, that's engineering going forward with that project as the design's still ongoing.
Oh, okay.
Engineering for fixing the road up, curbs, stormwater control.
Yep.
That's been going on for over a year now.
On page 24, which is under highways and streets, the general, all it says is general, and it has $182,000 associated with it, but did not give a description of what.
Yeah, that's the baseline expense. So because we have two broken out categories this year, I was trying to separate what would the normal budget have been from what is being added in addition to. So if you look back at prior years, the trend has been at 241 and then 227 in the current year. So that's just saying going forward, we know we're going to have the layer of normal and usual items that fall in that line. And then we're adding 50,000 on top of that. So that was just segregating those out.
Gotcha. Further down on the budget plays concrete asphalt projects, 1.75 million. Is that an add or is that a forward?
No, that's every year. The overlays we do, the slab replacement, that's new for next year.
And then the next one is well, I asked that because it's labeled out kind of here as a wish list item, which the next one is the $50,000 sign, which you were talking about. So that's why it was together with that it didn't make sense. On the next page of 25, the Viking quote for 3 new dump truck outfitters, and then it says balance coming in the previous year. The next line down that's the same thing at the 336. It's just showing it twice, kind of. So it says it twice. The first line says coming in the upcoming previous budget year, and then the next line down it says an amount of the same exact thing for 336,870.
Yeah, the first line, when we put these descriptions in here or these detailed notes, there's a field that is sort of the general title for the note. And then underneath it, you can do a specific line, but you'll notice the first line has no dollar attached to it.
Yeah.
It's only the second one, but it makes you have to put in 2 pieces of data
Okay.
in order to do that.
Uh, 28 is the same thing I said before, which was the $10,000 storage and the boat ramp. We'd have to change the ordinance to do that. I did have a question, and it's on the wish list on page 30, which is under I believe it's the dog kennel. $130,000 to update the dog kennels.
I can speak on that as well, and Anthony can jump in if needed. But essentially, there was a issue that happened over last winter that really exposed some safety concerns with the dog kennels, especially because we are an open intake facility. So we, of course, take dogs regardless of their behavior problems. And we want to ensure the safety of residents, animals, and of course, our employees. So we will be doing some upgrades to allow for more privacy between or at least staff is requesting these upgrades to allow for more privacy between the kennels. That way the dogs aren't staring at each other and getting aggravated, as well as what's called the guillotine doors to allow for easier transfer of aggressive animals.
What's a guillotine door?
That's a great question. So essentially, if you have 2 kennels and there's the wall in between,
Yeah.
it's a door that you can slide from the outside up and
Oh.
down. The idea being that if you have an incredibly aggressive animal, you have a clean kennel right next door, you put some peanut butter in it, slide the door up, the dog will move over, then you slide the door down, and then you can clean the other side without having to actually deal with a dog that is dangerous.
Yeah, and the current system, doors don't open out, they open half in. So when we had an aggressive dog, we'd have to take that dog out daily. Sometimes take 2 people. We had a dog actually on a leash and then you try to distract it with a stick, the stick snapped, the dog got loose. Fortunately, there were 2 employees. One of them got to pin the dog up because this dog could have caused some serious damage, not only to the people, but if there was an employee or another dog, it could have hurt it. The guillotine doors are really, that's kind of the norm now. The fact that we have these older doors, it kind of exposes animals and employees to liability concerns. Another thing is we're creating a separate room for the cats.
That was
Yeah.
40,000.
The cats are pretty much terrified their entire time because the dogs are in there. If you've ever been in there, it's very, very loud.
They're in the same essentially concrete room as the dogs.
We went through with our insurer, and there were multiple red flags, even down to like ear protection. There were a lot of things. So this is an overall comprehensive improvement. It's not just updating a couple of kennels. To be honest with you, from an insurance standpoint, this probably should have been done a long time ago.
The page 33, on wages and salaries, it went up to 233 on communications. Is that IT?
Chief, I'm gonna let you address that. That's, what we
are-
used to call dispatch.
Yeah, we have 5 full-time communication.
Oh,
clerk.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's not IT.
No,
Okay. Any part of that? Okay. Gotcha. I think that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Roy, you have anything?
No, I'm great.
Michael?
My questions were answered, so. I got mine too.
Tim?
Questions were already answered. Thank you.
Matt?
No, sir.
Michael?
I'm still looking for that error that I had mentioned the other night. That 1.7 million,
Must have been a big one.
Michael, we could always move.
20 million, wasn't it?
yeah, I'll send that to you. Yeah.
Anybody else from staff, anything they'd like to add?
No, thanks.
I guess that's the end of this meeting. then.
Thanks for the clarification.
All right, thanks. We're gonna go ahead and close this, budget discussion, go into a regular special meeting. And, do a pledge of allegiance. Y'all would rise for a pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America, to the republic, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all. Thank you all. Guys, go ahead and, I'd like a motion to amend the agenda, if you would, to go ahead and allow public comment if anybody wants to talk about what we're talking about tonight, so. Again. Sorry,
Do a roll call.
after the roll call.
Bill Moritz,
Yes, here.
Roy Blackshear,
Here.
Michael Rother,
Here.
Tim Seidenstricker,
Here.
Brad Carey,
Sorry.
Michael Rethmeyer,
Here.
Matthew Saller,
Here.
EJ Fleischman,
Excused.
Rodney Mullins,
Here.
Anthony Traxler,
Here.
Tara Turner, Bill Lehman, Allison Sweeney, Dave Crutchley,
Here.
James Pogorzelski,
Here.
Mark Hood,
Here.
Chief Carroll.
Here.
Okay. Now, if we could have a motion to amend the agenda to allow public comment.
Make a motion.
Michael, second. Rodney? Roll call vote.
Roy Blackshear,
Yes.
Michael Rother,
Yes.
Tim Seidenstricker,
Yes.
Brad Carey,
Yes.
Michael Rethmeyer,
Yes.
Matthew Saller,
Yes.
Rodney Mullins,
Yes.
7 yeas.
All right, thank you. Amended agenda, we're gonna go ahead and public comment. If anybody wants to, talk to this city council and public, you got 3 minutes, come up here, give your name and address and, state that for the public record. You got 3 minutes to talk about any matter of public business, and hopefully it's all about the budget, because that's what we're here for tonight in a special meeting. So, Doris, I guess you're out there first. Good evening.
Doris Borgelt, 653 Louisa Drive. I've added something besides the Robert's Rules of Order, which I think everybody here should have a copy of it so that you know what to do in the future. What happened Monday night shouldn't happen again. I wanted to also ask about the sudden annexation plans for the schools. There has to be a motive behind that. And I think that the public should be aware of what that motive is, and it should be explained. And let's see. And how do you expect these people to vote on a budget when you can't explain what they're voting on? You didn't have any answers for Mr. Carey when he was asking, and I realize that you can't get into the program. I understand that, but they should have answers before they vote on it. And basically, that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Don Schisler?
Evening, Don.
Don Schisler, 1907 Maple Lane. We weren't able to attend Monday night's meeting, but we did watch the recording. Didn't think it was going to be as exciting as it was. Mr. Carey, we are disappointed that you weren't able to take part in the budget discussion or ask your line item questions at the time that you had. We appreciate you and all the council members in taking your role seriously, in asking questions, wanting to understand exactly what you're being asked to approve. Otherwise, you'd be simply acting as a rubber stamp, which is not why anyone was elected. Based on everything we heard the mayor read in the 10 or 12 minutes at the start of the meeting, and Ellison, I don't think the memo was as full of legalese as you thought. I thought it was kind of clear. When it was read, we were shocked that Mr. Carey was dismissed from the entire discussion. This seemed inappropriate, heavy-handed, and even dictatorial. Mr. Carey is 50% of the voice of Ward 4 residents, and we don't appreciate losing that voice in the budget process. Not like we did. If we were interpreting it correctly, I think we didn't hear the question raised about whether or not the portion of the budget could be separated out. What we heard was simply, based on what we heard, he could just be excused from that part of the discussion and vote. But so I guess we'll clarify what's going to happen with that. The reason we have so many new council members is that Arnold citizens want to change the way some things are done in city government, and everybody knows that. Change is difficult and stressful, and some will be resistant, but Arnold citizens and taxpayers have told you that it's necessary. These new members, like people said, they're on a steep learning curve. They need information and training to do the jobs properly. So please make sure that everyone gets the information and the training. We didn't elect anybody to be a rubber stamp, and no one wants to see anyone eating their young, so to say. Council members, you have our support, and we appreciate the work you're doing to make our city a better place and make city government more accountable and transparent to Arnold citizens and taxpayers. Thanks.
Thank you, Don.
Billy Crow?
Good evening.
All right. Good evening, Billy Crow, 1900 Old Lee May Ferry Road. A couple things. First off, in regards to the budget. The budget is, in my opinion, is your role as a council member is the most important thing you're ever going to handle. It's your neighbors' pocketbooks that are being discussed. Be curious, ask questions, and learn. Never let words like "I don't know" or "that's the way we've always done it" be good enough answer for you or your constituents. I've sat in budget meetings for hours, some that were multi-day budget meetings where department heads came and answered line by line everything on there. Very in-depth questions. If a council member wants more information, that is his right to protect the taxpayer's pocketbook. That shouldn't be a burden. It's a privilege to protect your neighbor's pocketbook. The level of frustration that I saw in Mr. Mort's with the question of continuing the discussion when it was asked to be tabled, the vote was asked to be tabled, was more than disappointing, because again, we are discussing our neighbors' pocketbooks. Now on to Monday night. The legislative body of government, as I just like you understand, is very precarious. We must jealously guard our role and our authority in the government. When an executive branch, or in this case the mayor, oversteps his authority, you as a legislative body must respond. Mr. Carey was not allowed to ask questions about him being removed. Your mayor pro tem, the one that you as a body elected your leader, was not given answers or a chance to be answered. You all should not accept that. The mayor is not your boss. Your constituents are your boss. The mayor stifled the voices of the representatives of the citizens of Arnold. This time it was Mr. Carey who was removed with no recourse. Next time it might be you. And if that happens, who will stand up for you? And lastly, the national anthem is not a race to be won. Thank you.
Thank you.
Genevieve Crowe?
Genevieve Crowe, 1900 Old Lee Ferry Road. Firstly, I would like my speech to be put on written record. I have. I'm 16 years old. I cannot vote, and yet I still engage in politics. There are only two campaigns that I have helped in. First, my father's, Billy Crowe. Second, Brad Carey. And I have recently found out that this city's mayor, Bill Mortz, unlawfully kicked Councilman Brad Carey out of this meeting. Because a council person is an independently constitutional and statutory officer elected by the public, their right to attend meetings and vote is protected by state and federal law. An oversight body cannot simply remove them temporarily for any other reason besides causing physical harm or threats of causing physical harm. This means that this mayor has unlawfully ejected a council member. When this happened, Troy Blackshner, Michael Rethmeyer, and my council members, Tim Seidenstricker and Michael Rother, none, not one of you, questioned this decision. And when EJ Fleischman inquired about this decision to eject the council member, he was talked down to like a child and not like he was a council member or an equal to this council. When you remove a council member without legal justification, you aren't just removing an individual from this room. You are stripping away the voice of the citizens who elected him to represent their interest. By remaining silent, you are telling those voters that their choices do not matter. I come to you, not as a friend of Brad's, but as a citizen that is terrified. I am terrified because this can happen to any one of you at any moment. I am terrified because these council members are my strongest voice in helping this city flourish. And to find out that our mayor does not care for his authority to be challenged and is willing to kick out a council member because he wants to is terrifying. And though I am terrified, it is this fear that makes me care so deeply about this, to make sure that no person can be silenced in this meeting is protecting democracy itself. Furthermore, I am deeply disappointed in all of you, but I am most deeply disappointed in my council members, Tim Seidenstricker and Michael Rother. You are my voice in this room, and what do? You let an attack on this council on democracy occur and said nothing. You failed at your job, you failed your city, and you failed me personally. To be perfectly candid, I don't want your apologies. I don't want weightless words that accomplish nothing. I want and expect real accountability from all of you. Real accountability means going through with what you promise and not backing out when it gets difficult. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Lisa Crowe?
I should have gone first. I can follow that. Lisa Crowe, 1900 Old Lee Ferry Road. Mayor, members of the council, fellow residents. I want to begin tonight with an apology. Following Monday's special budget meeting, I was sharply critical of this council. Looking back, some of that criticism was too broad, and I did not fairly account for what individual council members were facing in that moment. I especially owe Councilman Matt Saller an apology. He had been in that meeting for only a matter of minutes before it adjourned, and it was unfair of me to place the events of that meeting at his feet, which I did, and I should not have. So my apologies, Mr. Sauer. I also did not fully appreciate the pressure that this council has been operating under. After speaking with several of you this week, which I appreciate the return phone calls and the answers and the long discussions that everyone put up with from me, I have a better understanding of the pressure that you are experiencing. I appreciate your patience in explaining your positions and your assurances to stand firm, and that you intend to stand firm in the coming weeks. But understanding that pressure and the bullying and intimidation that has been taking place on this council does not mean that we should ignore what happened. Following the state audit, Mayor Mortz told this city, I quote, "I am keeping my promise to keep things open and honest." Those words set a standard. That promise must be measured not simply by what is said from this dais, but by how authority is exercised when disagreement occurs. A mayor committed to openness should encourage council members to ask questions, especially about a city budget. You should have allowed EJ to ask his questions and answered them in full. You should have paused the meeting and allowed council members to understand what was happening, and you did not do that. They are not an inconvenience to government when people ask questions. They are a part of responsible government, which we have been promised as a city. When Councilman Brad Carey was removed from Monday's discussion, the citizens who elected him lost their representative at the table as well. And that is serious. That is something that was given by the people of the city, not by the mayor, not by any other government, but the people of the city. So my request to this council going forward is this: learn your authority for yourselves. Know your rights, know your responsibilities, and know the limits of the offices around you. Do not simply assume that everyone in government will always protect the authority for you. Trust the people that work with you, but verify the process. If something is unclear, ask. If an answer does not make sense, keep asking. Do not allow pressure or intimidation to cause you to surrender authority that was never yours to surrender in the first place. It was given to you by the people, and it is not yours to give up. The authority was entrusted to you by the voters, and defending it means defending their reputation. I believe many mistakes were made Monday. I also believe that this council, based on the conversations that we have, is extremely capable of correcting them. For that reason, I believe that formal censure of the mayor is appropriate. In my view, the authority exercised Monday was not the mayor's to take, and therefore it is not his simply to give back when he chooses. I do not envy your position. Your responsibilities are difficult. But from conversations I have had with many of you, I believe that you care deeply about this city, take your responsibilities seriously, and will stand firm in the decisions that you should make as a council. You have the ability to restore the balance that should exist between the mayor, the council, and ultimately the citizens you were elected to represent. My final statement is that I would urge you as a council to consider the actions that you made on Monday and consider whether there are any private citizens, private companies, or other councilmen that you owe apologies or an address to based on your actions, and that you take those as members of this community and as a first start of what you intend to do to change the balance of power that has been happening here at City Council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pat Cross?
At Cross, 2048 Buck Drive. Before I start my 3 minutes, you girl, go. You run for mayor, I'm voting for you. You remind me so much of my granddaughter that's graduating.
Ross, would you please address the city
Do
council?
what I want, Bill.
You got your 3 minutes.
Okay, that's great. But I would vote for you in a minute, and you remind me of my granddaughter. Hey, Bill. And another thing I want to tell you, Bill admitted that he has a temper, and you know that. You have admitted that in public. And another thing is, I want to tell all these council members, I don't care what anybody says. I am proud of every last one of you. For one thing, Matt Sauer isn't going to go out and buy a Porsche with the salary he gets for being a councilman. Troy isn't going to buy a Lake of the Ozarks house. These people that get on and criticize this council, I take offense with that. They are trying their best. They get no training. They are doing this out of the goodness of their heart because they want to change the way this city has been run by the good old boys. So don't take anything to heart that people say. You got a lot of people supporting you, all of you. I want to let you know that. And Bill, I hope you learned your lesson. I really do. The people have spoken. We are your boss. And don't remember that. And another thing, I agree 100% with Doris. I would not vote for a budget that, well, maybe this is this, or this was put on there in error. This all needs to be corrected first. Thank you, council members, for your service.
Thank you. That's all? Okay. Anybody else real quick? Okay, moving right along. We're up to Bill 2934, ordinance annexing. Please, you need to read that, not me.
Bill number 2934, an ordinance annexing certain territory into the city of Arnold, Missouri.
Anthony, would you please explain the ordinance?
Yeah, this is, somebody that earlier asked questions about the need for the ordinance. The school district voted to approve this, and I don't want to speak for the school district, but principally it's city services and the proximity from a day-to-day standpoint, the SROs will be Arnold police officers versus the sheriffs. Not that the sheriffs aren't doing a good job, but it's just proximity. We have many more officers and it's just much closer. And logistics standpoint, it makes more sense. That was the principal reason.
That's really about it. Any questions or comments from the city council? Okay, second reading of Bill 2934, if you would please.
Bill number 2934, an ordinance annexing certain territory into the city of Arnold, Missouri.
Any questions or comments? Okay, I'll add a couple. Anthony and me, Bob Sweeney, and Pat Sweeney, police officer, he's the, like the supervisor of the SROs. We were at the school board meeting the other night. It was a unanimous vote, and they all agreed with the idea that with, Lone School is surrounded on three sides by Arnold. It should always be within the city, and that was a no-brainer. Simpson School is over on Vogel Road, and we're trying to annex, out from where the city line goes out Vogel Road to Old Emy Ferry, and Old Emy Ferry from Miller Road out to Vogel Road. And we're trying to work on this. So we've offered this to the city, to the school to come do this, and they want to do this. And we agree with a couple of things that are going on. Where the sheriff's departments have to extend SROs out to these schools that are not by right, but very within proximity of Arnold. So we figured that we could offer a better service for them at much closer here, and also free up SRO activities between the existing sheriff's department and the schools that they've got now, if they don't have to cover the two that are in, rightfully in Arnold. So that's why we're going forward with this. So that's about it. Tammy, if you would conduct a roll call vote.
Troy Blackshear,
Yes.
Michael Rother,
Yes.
Tim Seidenstricker,
Yes.
Brad Carey,
Yes.
Michael Reithmeyer,
Yes.
Matthew Soller,
Yes.
Rodney Mullins,
Yes.
7 yeas.
Thank you. With the 7 votes, it passes. Bill 2933.
Bill number 2933, an ordinance providing for the adoption of the fiscal year 2027 budget.
Bill, would you please?
Yeah, I don't really have anything further to add. These packets that you have were the same ones we used on Monday night, so there's been no changes in there. And I think we've discussed it enough. If anybody has additional questions, I'd be glad to take them now.
Did your system ever update?
No, it's still,
EDD?
yeah, no, it's still. What's the particular question you were just asking about?
Well, our budget is 27.5, but this year we spent so far $120,296.
Well, let me explain what that is. That's when money comes in that's within the TDD boundaries
Mhm.
by all of the taxing districts that receive that sales tax money have to rebate some of that back to the TDD. So that's what that is. That's a pass-through that happens. And as I said, the budget line items are correct, but the actual number is what I believe is probably not correct up to this point in time, but we correct all that at the end of the year when we close the books. But the dollar amount in the budget, if you just go from one budget column to the next, those are pretty consistent. It's just you have a blip in the actual number for this year. And that happens in accounting when there's a misposted journal entry. We don't look at those every day. We look at those on a monthly or a quarterly basis. And we're about to hit the end of the year, August 31st. So we'll be going back through and making sure that there's nothing that needs to be corrected from an accounting standpoint. But it doesn't affect the budget, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Very well. Anybody else have any questions? No? Tammy, second reading of 2933, please.
Number 2933, an ordinance providing for the adoption of the fiscal year 2027 budget.
One more time. Roll call vote, please.
Roy Blackshear,
Yes.
Michael Rother,
Yes.
Tim Seidenstricker,
Yes.
Brad Carey,
Yes.
Michael Reithmeyer,
Yes.
Matthew Soler,
Yes.
Rodney Mullins,
Yes.
7 yeas.
All right, and with the 7 yeas, the motion carries. The budget is going to be approved. Okay. I got just one more thing I'd like to, as it's kind of light news. We got to meet Madison Beck at a Rotary Club meeting a little while back. She's from Barnhart and she's Miss USA Missouri. She's in her pageant tonight for the USA pageant, so we're wishing her some good luck. I'd like a motion and a second for adjournment of the meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Michael?
I'll second.
Tim? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you all. Thanks, everybody.
All right. That's the only